In the 1950s, as Japan National Railways, JNR, gradually recovered from the post-war chaos, they aimed to enhance transportation capacity with high-power locomotives and advance the electrification of main lines. It was also necessary to reduce coal consumption by steam locomotives to supplement the strained coal supply amid industrial recovery. Electric locomotives with over 2,000 horsepower had already been developed and operated before the war. At that time, with many non-electrified main lines, Japan began developing mainline diesel locomotives, following the example of Europe and the United States. However, unlike electrical technology, Japan's diesel technology was extremely immature at the time, and the idea of engines for locomotives was a distant dream. High-power steam locomotives with an output at wheel rim exceeding 1,600 horsepower were used on major main lines, requiring engines with over 2,000 horsepower to replace them. It was difficult to meet this requirement domestically, so Mitsubishi produced 1,000 horsepower class engines through a technical partnership with Sulzer of Switzerland. These engines were mounted on a single cab body with a BB axle arrangement, resulting in the birth of the DD50. Due to the single cab design, it became standard to operate them in back-to-back pairs, forming a locomotive with a continuous rating of 1,800 horsepower. Although the model name was DD50, it was effectively operated as DH50. The only option for power transmission was electric, driving a low-speed DC generator with an engine running at 800 RPM, so lightweight construction was not expected. The operational weight was 63,440 kilograms, with an axle load approaching 16 tons, designed with a focus on maximizing output without considering entry into lower-class lines. This approach did not become mainstream for diesel locomotives, but it was revived later with the DF200, marking the return of electric transmission. Even though priority was given to output, the transmission efficiency of electric systems at that time was below 80% at best, and the output at wheel rim did not reach 1,400 horsepower in double heading, making it insufficient to replace large steam locomotives. In reality, it could barely compete with steam locomotives using low-quality coal as fuel. However, with generator control and the use of field weakening, it exhibited consistent output at wheel rim from low to high speeds, and could reach a maximum operating speed of 90 km per hour. This made it suitable for both passenger and freight use, which was an excellent characteristic at a time when it was common to produce separate locomotives for freight and passenger services. Unlike steam locomotives and electric locomotives of the time, it had no leading wheels or trailing bogies, so the locomotive weight directly translated to adhesive weight, reducing the risk of slipping when hauling heavy trains under adverse conditions. As JNR's first dedicated diesel locomotive, it was well received, and the relief from the smoke of steam locomotives was welcomed with great curiosity and expectation. However, main lines that allowed an axle load of 16 tons were rapidly electrified, limiting the operational scope of the heavy and moderately powered DD50, and it never progressed to mass production. With the success of this locomotive, JNR gained confidence in electric power transmission and developed the 6-axle DF50, which could operate on sub-main lines with a 14-ton axle load standard. Thus, diesel locomotives moved towards prioritizing lightweight construction even at the expense of output. The fate of internal combustion vehicles being driven to harsh conditions and chased by electrification was already sealed at this time.